Welcome back to another edition of the Lakers Fast Break. I'm here with Laker Tom on the Lakerholics Spotlight. Here on the weekend of what weekend is it? The 16th, 13th, 12th, 12th, right?
13th, 13th, I
13th.
think, isn't it?
Oh yeah, today's 13th. Yep. Yesterday was 12th. Hey, we're on our games. We're adults. We know the day, kinda.
That's a big cup of coffee, man.
Oh yeah, no, it's got my Laker colors. I'm ready to rock. Um, want to thank Gerald, Joe, the whole Laker Fast Break crew for holding it down throughout the week. Tom and I try to hold it down here on a Saturday, do our best with our idle chit chat and theories and notions. So if you'd like to pose us a question, I'm going to switch over to the chat down below so I can see what's going on with the peoples. We'll get into it. So 2 games now is one game. Everything broke the Lakers' way in terms of moving up into, I don't know about 8, but definitely 9.
The basketball gods are favoring us. No doubt about
Let's not go jinxing things here, man. Let's not go with it. Let's end it. Let's not no jinxies. All right, don't go hooting and hollering about.
Oh, hey, listen, they brought us home yesterday, man. And
yeah, there's still a game to go.
I can't believe that they did that after the horrible performance that we put on against the Grizzlies.
Oh my God, I don't know.
Is this a reward or? Yes, like
back. That's definitely we backed into that win. That was not a.
Did you look at the West standings though, and even the East? I mean, it is crazy what the play-in tournament has done to parity.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say the play-in tournament is the single biggest driver of anti-tanking because it's hard to tank after the All-Star break, or it's hard to tank before the All-Star break because there's still just enough time post All-Star break to think like, well, if we get hot, if so-and-so comes back, if this or that happens and breaks our way, we could sneak into the play-in. And then once we're in the play-in, and then it's just that's how competitors compete.
Yep.
If you think you got a chance, then you got a chance, right? And so, and the Lakers are a prime example of that, right? Last season, number of people counting on us to make it to the Western Conference Finals, probably less than 1,000. Like whole on planet Earth.
Same thing with the Heat, though, in the East.
Right?
It's like
exactly. Last season's conference finals were the
eventually somebody from the 9 and 10 is going to win a championship. That's
just like the Rockets did a few years back. Or I should say a few decades back, really a few years back. It's like it just happened. In my mind, it kind of was. It feels not so long ago, but it was a long time ago.
This is the wackiest year that I can remember in all of the years that I've followed the Lakers in the NBA.
It's definitely up there. I mean, the level of injury versus the level of still relevancy is kind of astounding. Like the fact that the Knicks have not slipped at all, really.
Those teams, it reminds me of the Grizzlies in the past, being able to survive when Chalk goes down and all sorts of people go down. And some teams just seem to be able to do it. But what? I think the Lakers really got a bad situation with AD getting sick and getting hit in the face, and losing those 2 games that they probably should not have lost had they been healthy.
Don't give me that. Don't get me started on that, man.
The basketball gods saved their asses.
I think that to think that was A, not called a foul, and then B, not gone back and reviewed as a flagrant one.
Really?
To me,
and it was the second time they've done it to him in like 5 games.
It was just like, dude, it doesn't seem obvious to you that their strategy is to hit him in the face and maybe.
Well, and even the guy who hit him in the face, he's looking down at him and reaching for him to try to help him up, saying, "Man, I'm sorry about that."
Nope. No,
and the rest was just saying incidental contact, man. It's the new incidental contact.
Whatever. That was not, because you see he starts with verticality, and then you clearly see on the replay the hand slap down onto the face.
He comes to play and then starts vomiting and having nausea, and it's just
no. I agree with you.
There's a little justice. There's a little justice there, but we have to win tomorrow.
Tomorrow's a must-win game.
Or we will be 10th.
Yeah, because we don't own any of the tiebreakers. So just so everybody's aware, if all 3 teams right now, the Lakers are a single game a single game ahead of New Orleans.
And we have a 50% shot of playing the Nuggets in round one.
Yeah, I think that that's been my preference.
3 out of 6 options are for the Nuggets.
That's been my preference all along. I get it out of the way early. You're either going to beat them or you're not, and I'd rather beat them when you're fresher. I'd rather beat them when you're as healthy as you're going to get. Because let's be honest, Vando's not coming back in the playoffs. They're not going to bring him back for a major role in the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. So Vando's
depends how long we go.
I just don't see it happening. Look at how he traded.
I see it happening simply because Ham constantly tries to screw up the rotation. Instead of sticking with the 8 guys he's got, he's gonna push guys into the rotation.
I mean, listen, you know I'm a huge Vando fan. I just think it's going to be interesting if they throw him out there with, he's going to have he'll have to play in a minute. I mean, maybe they throw him out there. I don't know. We'll see. I'd be surprised.
Well, I think if we get to the conference finals, he has a chance, but we've got to get we've got to get a couple of weeks worth of time in for him to even get to a point where I think they're going to put him out there and let him play. But man, I mean,
technically, Darren, yes.
Every single playoff match up is going to be brutal in the West, man. And this is with 2 teams like the Grizzlies and teams that are so injured that they really would be in the mix of everything if they were healthy. Next year is going to be brutal. If you think this year was brutal.
Let me answer Chris Vivanko's question, and thanks for posing us a question in the chat, Chris. The question, I'll put it on the screen so you can read it too, Tom. The question is, help us understand where we're at, what needs to. So listen, basically, as yesterday when the day started 24 hours ago, the Golden State Warriors, the Sacramento Kings, and the Los Angeles Lakers were all in a exact tie.
Well, not really an exact tie. Since they have the benefit to match up against them.
But as of that day, we were both 45 and 35.
Right.
Last night, Sacramento and Golden State lost, and the Lakers won, which gives us we're 1 game up. Now, if we tie, if we lose, and one of Sacramento or Golden State wins tomorrow, then they pass us because they own the tiebreaker. Both teams own the tiebreaker due to their superior record against us in the regular season. They both went 3-1 against us, I believe. And so as a result of not winning those tiebreakers, if we tie either team or both teams, then we go down. I don't know who has the tiebreaker between Golden State.
We are the worst in the 3-way ties too.
Right. We cannot afford a 3-way tie for last, like the Minutemen album, if those of you who are Minutemen fans. So that's how that shapes up. But where we stand tomorrow is still basically up for grabs because it's also a 3-way tie for first. So.
Right. So you don't know who you're going to match up against.
So
you got to take whoever you get. If we get
it's impossible to tell right now.
We get the Nuggets, man. It's no big deal. But
even once 1 through 3 are decided, we still haven't gone through the play-in, right? So let's say best case scenario, everybody loses the games they're supposed to lose, and the Lakers crawl their way up to the 8th seed, which is, I just don't see it happening. It's just so much needs to break right. I see one.
All they have to do is if the Lakers win, they are the 8th seed.
No, they're not. No, because if Golden State and Sacramento also wins, they bump us back.
We're already ahead a game by each of them.
I see. No, you're right. If the Lakers
if we win, we are the 8th seed.
Yes, if we win, we are the 8th seed.
If we lose, we're the 10th seed,
or the 9th seed, or the 8th seed. If they all lose, if everybody loses, we stay the 8th seed. That's where it gets a little wacky, right? So
but basically the 2 California teams have fairly easy matchups compared to the
whatever. I mean, everybody's going
to be the Pelicans and the
remember that
Suns.
Tom, remember that easy matchup we had last night?
Oh, yeah, I know. Oh. Well, hey, man, the thing you got to realize is that not only is the parity much greater than it's been in the past, but even the teams that are out of it completely, like the Grizzlies, who start 5 guys that I've never heard of before. I mean, seriously, I never heard of any of those 5 guys before.
I've heard of Scottie Pippen Jr. He was a Laker.
Oh, yeah, Pippen Jr. Okay, you're right. Pippen Jr. I didn't know. But man, I tell you, they played. Everybody's an NBA player, man. These guys, they played really well.
I like your optimism, Alan. He's got a back-to-back comment. They not losing. We'll see. We need Mini to win, and then we need to face the Suns 7-8. This is, I think, everybody's preferred. This is everybody would like for Minnesota to be the number 1 seed, and for the Lakers. I mean, if the Nuggets.
Well, you want the Nuggets to be 3rd seed, so they play the 6th team.
You would love for the Nuggets to be the 3rd seed, so they play the 6th seed, which will likely be, but isn't guaranteed to be.
It's probably going to happen because the big game is the Minnesota and New Orleans game. That's really going to determine what. And basically, if I recall, I think that there's a lot of advantages. I think Mini has the. If it's a 2-way tie, Mini has the advantage over both of the other 2 teams.
Correct. They have the best conference record.
But not if it's a 3-way tie.
No, then I think OKC has the best conference
record. I think OKC has it. So that's answering the questions that Alan was asking. That's really it's basically if the Lakers win, they're going to be in the 7-8 game and probably the visitor.
It's all but guaranteed.
Yeah. And that's fine. And I think that there's probably, to me, when I look at the games themselves, because of Minnesota's playing a tough game against New Orleans, it looks to me as if it's 2 out of 3. It's pretty much it's pretty much Lakers are favored 2-1 to end up with a team that matches up well with them, meaning they play in the Thunder or Minnesota. Obviously,
we don't match up great with Minnesota.
I actually think we do match up well against Minnesota.
Not without Vando. Anyway, that is for our next show. We are not there yet. We've gone through the potentialities, and I think that.
Well, we're going to go fishing. If we lose, don't we just cancel the show?
That's right. Then we're done. Then we go. Then we move right into. Then we move into right in your favorite phrase. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Trading. What's happening the night of the draft?
There's a silver lining that is hovering over us. You can look up there and you can see it. Oh, God. That silver lining is called new coach. So it's if everything goes horrible and we lose today or tomorrow, at least one thing that probably will happen is we'll get a new coach.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I'm not so confident as some of the naysayers. I mean, everybody was like, "These." And I say this because the same. It's. I read the same articles you do. I encounter the same information as you do. And
let me add, just put one comment at this point.
Sure.
If you look at the standings, of the league right now, it should tell you something about what you have to do during the season, which is you cannot waste half of the season not playing the highest paid, best players on your team.
I think that they will have that discussion with Darvin Ham, and they will allow him the luxury of hopefully a less injury start to next season.
I don't think they will.
I think they will.
Unless we do what we did last year and make it to the conference finals, he's gone.
For 3 reasons. No, I don't even think. I think as long as they make, I think the bar was get in, and they're gonna get in, right? He's gonna squeeze. He's gonna limbo.
Despite Darvin Ham.
I mean, listen, everybody's at fault, and everybody's everybody gets the success. So. Yeah, I tend to agree with this. I don't think we match up well with Naz. That's why I don't like our matchup against Minnesota without Vando. I think Naz can counter, or Naz and Vando can counter each other out. So this is why I don't. Let's just do this one thing.
OKC is obviously the best matchup for us.
Yeah, everybody would rather. I think that's everybody too.
Although, did you see when? Did you see? It's just amazing when you look at these young players. One of the things that just really strikes me is when I look at Wembanyama and all of the things that are happening in the league and how much bigger everybody's getting, and even looking at this draft, you go down through the draft, and out of the first 15 guys, there might be 2 guys that are under 6'5". It's not like people aren't looking for small, quick guards anymore. They're looking.
I think they are. I think it just depends on what their abilities are. I mean, if you're a small, quick guard that can't shoot, nobody's looking.
If you're a small, quick guard, you better be a tiger on defense, man. Because
yes, and you better shoot 35. You better come into the league shooting 35% or higher from 3.
It's the guys like Eddie, the center, who are big men, big traditional men, and small guards. Those are two endangered species, basically, in the NBA today.
I just think that they're not in vogue. I think everything comes around. So
you think it's in vogue, or it's because of the competition? It's because of the size and skill of the other guards now.
I think it's
make it hard for defense for anybody under 6'4" who's not.
I look at a guy like Jackson Hayes, and I see a decent future in the league. You're talking about a not stretch 5. You're talking about a mobile big. Now, if you're not mobile,
but he's got mobility, and he can get he'll improve on defense.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what and Gobert has. If you're a big man and you're just slow, there's not much of it. No, you don't have much of a place. If you're a gazelle of a big man, well, now that's a different story. And if you can get up with your gazelle-like speed, now you've got 2 boxes. Now you got 2 tools in the box.
Those 2 boxes just change the dynamics for.
And that's what I'm saying. So I think that it comes down to ability and skills. There's the days of the I'm gonna forget his name, the Pacers center who we traded for, Roy Hibberts. The era of the Roy Hibbert center is over. You cannot stand like a tree in the post and call it defense.
That was like a vertical. Maybe 5-year stretch that you could get by with that.
You could get by with that. That era is gone now. You need to be able to move your feet. And you need to be able to get out to the 3-point line and contest a little bit. Not every play, but a little bit, especially in the playoffs. All right, we have a comment here from N-Town the Wild. I'll let you address it first, and then I'll address it.
Which one of you are drinking the shots? I have a saying that applies to last night. It's just one game.
Yeah, and Intel, you're right. It was a terrible win last night. We mentioned that earlier. We backed into that one. So hopefully that's the last win we back into for the rest of the year.
There was a moment. There was a moment during that game, and I have these moments. Periodically during a season, maybe 3 or 4 times. And it's sort of like it's a premonition of what's happening, what's going to happen, and so forth. When AD missed those 2 free throws late in the game, I really got a feeling right there that this might be how the season ends. They were playing that bad that I did get that, and watching LeBron, that last play that LeBron made was really an incredible MFing play.
Yeah.
He put the heater on, and he knew what was going to happen. He could see what was going to happen. That boy was trying to save that ball, and he knew he had a straight line, and he gunned it 5 seconds before, or 5 milliseconds before everybody else even knew what was going on.
Before the guy was going to throw it to him.
And he had that ball, and I love the way he went right up to Ja. And back pedaled out of there. That was so goddamn cool, man.
Yeah, no, that was great.
So that reversed the premonition that I had, but it is scary that this team at times can take their foot off of the gas so badly that the car cannot. You have to have your foot on the gas or the brake to control the car at high speed.
So. Okay, we've drifted far away from what I was going to say about the coach. I'm just going to say one quick thing about the coach and why I don't think he's going to be fired. 3 reasons. 1, Jeannie's text mid-season about how she supports him. I know. I'm just listen. Let me get my list out, and then we'll move on. I hear you. That's not the only reason though. There's the text. There's the fact that literally everybody who said we were going to make a big splash of a trade at mid-season, wrong again. We did nothing. Everybody just likes to use the Lakers.
Did you read the part that they wanted to trade? They wanted to trade Prince.
I know, and he vetoed it.
And he vetoed trading Prince.
I mean, he didn't veto it. He spoke. I don't know that he has veto power, but he spoke stridently against it. And I think that in a way that
listen, I like Prince. I like Prince for the minutes he's playing now.
For the money and for the minutes, it's fine. You know,
he's an excellent player for the money.
He needs to hit at least 3 threes a game, minimum of 3. Otherwise, it's a lost cause.
Right. But you can usually count on him. I trust his shooting.
The third is that there are so many excuses baked into this season already. The injuries, the competitiveness. He won the play-in tournament. That's important to the front office. It's not important to the fans. I understand that. It is important to the front office. There's a lot
I just don't like the optics that are going on.
It doesn't matter what the optics are. The optics.
Yeah, but but think about it in the past, Jamie. Whenever you see those optics, the coach is eventually gone. It doesn't, I mean, everybody ignoring him in the huddles, totally ignoring him, and and the lineups that he puts out there sometimes. And I know he doesn't have any other big men, but for God's sakes, playing Prince at power forward. I mean, listen. I would have. There are times this season where I would have been like, I know he's not ready. I'm throwing Colin Castleton out there simply because he's a big guy and he's going to need to learn. Like, I think he has a strong, if not maniacal, resistance to playing young, unproven players, except for some reason Reeves last season, right? Unless he thinks that they could be defensive difference makers, in which case he will put them out there. Exactly. And then when they stop being defensive difference makers, like Reddish did, he'll continue to put him out there.
Well, Reddish also, his aggressiveness, there was an aggressiveness to his game that was evident in the first 3 months of the season. That's gone. Right. I don't know if it's because of the ankle. I don't know if it's something in his head. I don't know what it is, but it's gone now. Like,
well, he also lost his confidence
starting spot. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. He's not playing with intensity.
Right.
And that's what benched D'Lo. That's what benched Reeves. That's what's gotten everybody on the bench this season, other than obviously LeBron and AD. Everybody who's gone to the bench, it's been because they've lost their edge. They've lost their intensity.
Right.
I think this comment by Alex,
it's like, for example, I really dislike. I mean, as a coach, and when you look at certain players, it's like I understand what makes D'Lo work. And what makes D'Lo work is not reducing his minutes. What makes D'Lo work is telling him to shoot and making him be aggressive.
That's a perfect segue because that's who I'm bringing up.
D'Lo has been disappointing in the last few games, and a good part of that, I think, is because Ham's screwing around with his minutes, and he's taking his minutes and splitting them up between other guys when he doesn't hit his shots right away.
But if you didn't see this coming, when Gabe Vincent came back, you
could see it coming, and
right.
The problem is that the guys he's putting in to place those minutes, you're just all of a sudden telling D'Lo, you're not shooting 18 a game like you did before. You're not shooting 19, 20 shots a game like LeBron and AD anymore.
Right, but he's only playing 20 minutes.
And we're not even going to give you that 30 minutes that you used to get to do that. And we're going to pull you out at certain times so that you don't have rhythm. Man, you saw what that did last year. That's not how you deal with a guy like that.
Well, that's going to be the big question for the playoffs, isn't it? Is how the team responds.
And I think Ron is going to tell D'Lo
missing shots.
Ron is going to tell D'Lo, you go out there and you shoot the ball every goddamn time you touch it, because that's how we're going to win.
Yeah, I want to say this about the Memphis game. This is the last thing I'm going to say about the Memphis game. It's too often, I think, a lot of people put the emphasis on what the team has done in the past, or what the team, what isn't there, right? They didn't have Dane, they didn't have Bane, they didn't have Ja, obviously. They didn't have their entire starting lineup, or most of the guys on their bench, right? So everybody pencils it in as a win, and they fail to account for the idea or the notion that these 10-day G Leaguers. And Scottie Pippen talked about it in his post-game interview.
Big game for them.
Scottie Pippen Jr. It's
opportunity. It's the door opening.
Playoff level game for those guys, because this is their maybe one shot to show the world, I can play. I can hang with
and then a couple of those guys showed
them. They sure did, didn't they? They sure did. Scottie Pippen Jr. will have more than a G League 10-day role next season. I guarantee it.
That center that hit those threes, man.
Same with that. All of those guys will get at least a shot on some teams. Some teams' training camp next season, and that is exactly what they played hard for last night. And you cannot discount that. Now we're going to see that
you got to give a lot of credit to the team and the coach.
Right. We don't have to worry about that scenario in the playoffs, right? We're not going to encounter a team like that is desperate to like prove that they matter. And nothing fuels a human being like sheer desperation of your future, right? If you feel like your future is at stake, you'll leave it out there.
Yeah, but it still came down to the end of the game. The pressure really cracked on them, and their last 2 or 3 possessions were terrible.
Well, and also I thought it was astounding for G Leaguers how much they complained to the refs. It was like every single play.
Yeah, I know
they maul AD and they'd be like, what?
But you give them hope. You give them hope, and this is one of those games where sometimes the technology just drives me mad. The Lakers are ahead by like 5 points, and there's a blip. And the blip is I'm recording the game, but I'm a little late,
Oh, I see.
And the blip pulls up, and we're 8 points behind. I'm saying, what the hell?
I know the blip you're talking about. Yeah, no, that was a quick turnaround too. It was like 30 seconds.
But it wasn't in mine. My TV just had a blip, and all of a sudden it wasn't recording. It was moved to current time, and I made 8 points behind. I lost 13 points just like that.
Yep. Wow.
I had to watch the whole rest of the game just hanging on them, just a whole nightmare scenario. How could we blow this game?
Oh, man. Listen, that team shot way better from 3 than they will ever again. All of that was an outlier. And so somebody mentioned that the Memphis guards got 8 offensive rebounds. That's what you get when you have a guard like Scottie Pippen Jr., who's not necessarily the best scorer, although he looked better than
every time he made a little head fake or something, somebody bit on it really good.
Somebody bit on it, and he hit, and to his credit, like he made shots. And so, like, I again, is this guy going to start for the New York Knicks next season? No, but like, let's be real. He would maybe back up somebody on the New York Knicks next season. Yes, he's a perfect guy for Tom Thibodeau system. You want me to crash the boards and play hard? Yep. I'm your boy. Boy.
And you can see that. Hey, their coach, they got a good coach, man. That team, they've always done well despite having lost major players at key times. They're a tough team.
Tom had an in-home technical issue. He didn't like blip out like Thanos. Nobody went, and Tom didn't blip out of existence like that. So we didn't miss a Marvel comic universe moment. It's just Tom's in-home technology had
my recording
took a Union 15 on him.
Just got erased and jumped ahead.
Yeah. Anyhow, all right. So
it wasn't very long. It was only like 4 minutes in game time. But I went from the beginning of the third quarter to midway through the third quarter, and all of a sudden we're behind.
I'm a little concerned that D'Lo is, because here we are winding down the season. I want to say the exact same thing happened towards the end last season. Like as the playoffs got closer, D'Lo's game got tighter, and he doesn't play well tight. He plays better loose. He plays better when he's able to pump the crowd up after a ridiculous 3. And you saw him take like ridiculous 3s as opposed to smart shots in a way to it's almost the reverse psychology. If I hit this, then I'm like back on fire. If I was D'Lo,
yeah, but you got it's the same. D'Lo has to be treated the way that Steph Curry plays. It's the same.
He can't. He doesn't earn that. Nobody's going to treat him like that. No, nobody's.
Sure, you are. When he shoots 42% from 3.
When he doesn't, then what do you do? Then you've got Vincent or Dinwiddie on the bench. You're going to go with them, and that's the job.
No, you don't. Actually, I totally 100% disagree with that.
What? Get out of here.
No, because when you have a guy who is your volume 3-point specialist, who you want to take 10 to 12 threes a game and make 4 or 5 of them.
Yep.
It's a very unusual players. You can't take the normal guy who's shooting 2 or 3 threes a game or making 2 or 3 threes a game and all of a sudden have him shoot 10 to 15 threes a game, because that doesn't work.
No,
there's very few guys that really can continue to get open that many times and take that many threes and still hit a good enough number. And he's shooting the highest percentage of anybody who's shooting over 7 threes a game. So he's a guy that you have to not only give him the freedom to take the shots, but you got to encourage him to take the shots because you want him shooting as many shots as LeBron and AD. And that's the formula. Wait a minute. That's the formula that has succeeded and turned this offense around, plus the addition of Rui Hachimura to the starting lineup.
So
right now it's Reeves and D'Lo both who really need to pick up their game. Because
I thought Reeves' game actually has picked up in the last 2 games. I think he was hit for a good 5-6 games. He was in a pretty bad.
Well, he was shooting so horribly for us
from 3-point. No, from 3-point line, he had hit a bad slump there about 2 weeks ago, and it lasted for about a week. And now I feel like in the last 2 games, game and a half, he seems to have shot his way out of it. And he looks.
You can't take D'Lo's minutes. You can't take D'Lo's minutes and shots away and give them to Reddish and
well, they're not playing Reddish. They're playing they're playing Vincent and Dinwiddie.
It's a big mistake to do that. They cannot do what he can do from 3.
No, but he cannot do what they can do on defense. And Dinwiddie is a far better drive and kicker than D'Lo is. And
I don't mind Dinwiddie playing. I thought Dinwiddie fits in there fine, but I really Vincent hasn't shown me enough to garner the minutes that he's getting.
Well, I think that they're trying to see what he's capable of doing right now. And that's what I honestly think that's what's going on here. I think that we will see a more regular.
Well, but, we'll see. We screwed up the first half of the season by him doing exactly that.
This is true. He hasn't.
As we both said, the danger of Vincent coming back and the danger of all of these guys coming back is screwing up the rotation.
That's valid. And listen, I don't think Darvin Ham has a lot of slack with any Laker fans right now. There's not a lot of slack left on the rope that they're, getting ready to, well, I'm not going to make a reference like that, but he doesn't have a lot of credit in the bank. Let's put it that way. That's a much nicer way to put it. So I agree with you. I don't think anything once he hits the play-in barometer, and especially if we make it into the playoffs, I think he's coming back to begin the season next year as the coach. I don't think there's anything that's going to change that. Once he hit the play-in barometer, benchmark, I was like, yeah, that's it. He's gonna. If he had missed the play-in somehow,
I don't know. You're probably right because it's the Jamie Sweet logical. Let's take the best odds. The Lakers never do fire their coach and so forth, and you're probably right in that. That
it's also that there's not a great replacement waiting in the wings.
Maybe.
Because all right, this is my
Rondo.
No, they're not going to give it to Rondo. They've learned. I would imagine Rob Pelinka is looking at the Rondo situation, much like the Luke Walton situation, and a little bit like the Darvin Ham situation. Do I really want?
It's also tied to LeBron's new contract.
Yeah. What? Well,
LeBron will have a say as to whether Darvin Ham comes back.
Yes, I think that is true.
And I don't see anything that says that he wants Darvin Ham back.
I don't see anything that says that he doesn't. And I don't count. Listen, everybody reads so much into like what LeBron does on the court. If you watch that series between JJ Redick and LeBron, I'm pretty sure that in the timeouts, within the first 7 or 8 seconds of the coach speaking, he knows the play. He knows what's going to happen. He doesn't need to stand there and pay attention. He can start to move on and prepare his mind for what he's going to do next.
There's been other comments and things brought to light that shows that there's not a deal of respect for.
This is not Dwight Howard and Stan Van Gundy. We're not there yet. It's not there yet. It's not to that point. Now,
yeah, but if James makes an issue that he's going to sign for 3 more years, which is probably going to happen,
we'll see.
I find it hard to believe that he wants to end his career playing for Darvin Ham.
I think that has a kernel of truth. I think that what you might see is something like what I really think would happen is that the Lakers would go one of 2 routes. One, they would encourage Darvin Ham to replace assistant fill in the blank. And maybe somebody like Phil Handy gets a job somewhere, gets to coach his own team, right? Maybe somebody from the Lakers bench gets a head coaching job when somebody else gets fired this summer, right? Steve Clifford's gone. There's a head coaching vacancy in Charlotte. Not that that's a seat that anybody's rushing to fill, but it's you do get to coach your own team.
They got some good players, man. I mean,
that's right. If LaMelo can figure out a way to, if he can put on the right shoes and start working out the way his dad wants him to, I'm sure he'll play great. Because LeVar Ball knows his stuff, people. Boy, can't believe that guy still gets on TV every once in a while. Anyway, I would be surprised if they fired Ham before the calendar year flipped over. And then again, on top of that, I would be surprised that if he starts the season as a coach, that they fire him mid-season, barring some sort of dramatic, 0-10, 7-30 start, something along those lines.
We can't have a third start to the season. We can't be in this situation midway during the next season, or he will be fired.
I think part of
regardless of what Pelinka does and what move we can't.
I think part of the equation that we're not really taking into account is that you're going to have a slow start to the season when you have a superstar like LeBron James who's going to be entering year 40.
Yeah, but LeBron didn't necessarily do that this year.
He did ease into the season. He definitely eased into.
He always eases into the season, but because he's not going to be, you're not going to be playing like a playoffs when you're playing the first 40 games of the season. But
Alan, Alan just framed our debate perfectly. We're in between a rock and a hard place. Win, you keep Ham. Lose, he might go. But you don't want the team to lose because we're now into the playoffs, and you would like the team to play well in the playoffs.
I've never reached a point, even when there were some horrible coaches in the Lakers, I've never reached a point where I was rooting for the Lakers to lose. So the coach.
I think you got there with Byron Scott.
Well, I was going to say Byron is the closest I got there because
you got pretty close.
Byron tells me that I don't believe in the 3-point shot, and things like that.
I thought you got as close to rooting for the Lakers to lose as you ever did when Byron.
I started almost to say that, but
I remember. Tom, you can't.
I will listen. I will turn off a Laker game. I will turn off a Laker game and
that doesn't mean you don't like the team. I don't watch.
Go to a movie and then I'll check the score later.
That's right.
And I'll go back and watch the recording if it turns out worth it.
That's right. That's what I did last night. I missed the first part of the game.
And as a young man, I never did that. As a young man, I rooted and screamed till the last goddamn minute of every game. I can't do that anymore, man. I can't do it. It's just too hard.
Yeah, actually, Sean is right about this. I don't think that LeBron is allowed to sign. So if he opts into his extension and he can tack a 2-year extension onto that, which means he is technically only signing a 2-year deal because he can opt into the year.
Yeah,
now if he opts out of everything and gets a new deal, then
he's limited to 2 years because of his age.
I think Tom's right. I think he'll opt into next season and then sign the max extension for 2 years and probably include player options at that point maybe
he'll play 2 more years for sure and maybe 3.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
He'll be 42 when he retires then.
Let's come around to what do you want to see tomorrow? Other than a win, what is it that you're hoping to see? Not that it's a precursor to how we're going to do in the playoffs because we have to go through at least one play-in game, possibly 2. And so to that, we don't know who we're facing in the playoffs. My hope is if it is us against Sacramento in the play-in, we finally figure out a way to contain Sabonis and Fox.
Well, I think Sacramento is who we would like to get in the.
I would way rather get Golden State. I would way rather get Golden State in the play-in. It's not even close for me. We do not play well.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure simply because when you lose Huerter and Monk, man, that's a lot of firepower that's missing.
Yeah,
and the Warriors are like the Lakers because basically if Steph and the Warriors scare me more than listen. I give me a series against the Suns. I'll take that. I'll even take the Kings before I would take the Warriors. I don't want to play the Warriors in a series.
I don't mind playing the Warriors because I think we match up pretty well with them, even without Vando. I think we match up a little better with Vando.
The same thing. The key to every one of these matchups is Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and LeBron buying into defense, and you're
going to see LeBron. See, the thing with the Pelicans, what I expect is LeBron to guard
Zion.
Yeah, he's going to guard Zion.
Nah, AD's going to guard Zion.
I think that's the key. AD can dominate the center position, and that gives us a big advantage over them.
No, I'll tell you why that AD is going to. You don't want LeBron with that ankle having to engage the lateral beast that is Zion Williamson. You'd much rather stack him on any of the guys that like put him on CJ McCollum. CJ's not fast. CJ's not fast anymore. CJ's not going to back you down. You just need to stay in front of him.
Yeah, but LeBron's a 4. LeBron guards 4s now.
We'll see. Listen, this comment down below is one that we've all agreed for years that we don't want any more 3-guard lineups. No. It's coming. We can all whine and moan about it as much as we want.
Taurean Prince is not a small forward or a power forward.
No, he's a shooting guard, or should be. Yeah. It's just he doesn't have the ability. He's just too slow to really be a true shooting guard. He doesn't have the speed, so that's why they put him at the 3. Anyway, thank you, Kurt. Yes, I did. I over spring break. Oh, there we go. Wait, hold on. There we go. Over spring break, I trimmed up a little bit. Got myself a manicure, pedicure, because why not? I treated myself a little bit there. No, this is not correct. The Pelicans. Yes, if the Lakers win tomorrow, they will play either the Pelicans or the Suns. I think that is mostly true.
There's some scenarios where there's a couple of scenarios where the Warriors could be in there.
Yeah, that's the thing. But they would bump us out. It's not none of us can get we can't get as high as 7 anymore. 7 is out of reach.
No.
So we
win, we get 8. We lose, we're 10.
So yes, this is
going to work out.
This is a good point, and we were talking about it. Basically, we're talking about the 9-10 play-in game. I'm kind of assuming the Lakers are going to be 9 or 10. I have a hard time seeing everything break right 2 days in a row.
Wait, so you're saying we're going to lose tomorrow? Because that's the only way we don't end up number 8.
Right, but when we're talking about who
you're calling this a catch game already?
No. Hold on, you're not listening.
Game already?
No. You're
our first playoff game. Jamie is already declaring it's a trap game.
Trap.
No.
I'm not.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me, sweet.
You're not listening, Wong. Listen, we were just debating between only 2 teams, Golden State and Sacramento, which is not the team if we went out we would be playing. So we didn't even bring up the Suns or the Pelicans. If it comes down,
we're probably going to end up playing. The Pelicans are going to hold number 6.
No, if we beat the Pelicans and the Suns win, then the Suns move up.
The Suns playing Minnesota, man, and Minnesota's got to win to be number 1.
We'll see. I don't know that'll happen.
I don't think they can beat Minnesota.
I do. I think
it's in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't know where it was. Then we probably play the Suns. I'm all right playing the Suns for 7-8. The problem is that it's at Phoenix, which is not good for us.
Right.
So we'll see. I don't. It'll be interesting to see how the Suns do in the playoffs. I think that they are not actually really built for the playoffs. I think they're more of a regular season team. Yeah. Bradley Beal is suspect to me and overpaid.
Beal's actually saved their butts, man.
I know, but I don't know.
If they didn't have him in the fourth quarter, they would never have made that comeback.
I don't know that I've ever seen him play well in the playoffs. I
know what you mean. I don't trust. He's not. I would trust Booker or KD way before I trust Beal.
Yeah, no, Beal is going to.
If Booker can't hit anything and KD can't hit anything, then I pass the ball to Beal.
Right, but I mean, you're going to go with those 2 guys first, and I would even put Nurkic ahead of Beal in terms of pecking order a little bit because his game is dynamic. Not that I'm running plays for him, but that I expect him to have a higher impact. I guess is what I mean.
Their problem is that they only got 5 guys. Man, it's the quality of play goes down dramatically as soon as they sub anybody in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with Sean here. That starting lineup is scary, but I think that starting lineup has a problem with defense that just isn't. It just doesn't. It's just a problem that doesn't really come up.
It's also defense, and then can you really trust Nurkic and and
Beal.
Well, even Beal, but also they're getting great play from the guy from the
Grayson. Yeah, no.
Grayson Allen is playing way over his head, I think.
Yeah, I mean, all those guys are gonna. We'll see. I think I'm not so worried. Jamie is so optimistic. That's what I bring, man. Sunshine and rainbows. You want a unicorn? I got you. You want a unicorn? Want a leprechaun? You want a leprechaun and a unicorn? I'm here, baby. I'm not here for that.
Right. You want to see a unicorn run over by a truck?
There you go. Yeah, you want to see that leprechaun plastered to the bottom of a steamroller? I'm your boy. Yeah. So I listen. I think if it came
Lakers play 20 tomorrow.
Huh?
It'll be over at halftime.
Oh boy, you are just begging the basketball gods to strike you with lightning. You're just begging for it with all these wacky predictions. Yes, you are. You're like
LeBron James is going to play 48 minutes. Anthony
why
Davis
would you
is going to
want
play
that?
48 minutes.
Why would you want
Neither
that?
one of them is going to come out of the game.
Why
They're
would
just
you
going
want
to dominate the whole first half so they can rest the entire second half.
Then they wouldn't need to play 48 minutes. They'll only play 24 minutes.
24 minutes.
Your predictions are wildly across the board here. Anyhow, all right, let's wrap it up with any last thoughts. Any last thoughts before we head on out, Tom?
This is going to be the season that is going to be interesting because I think that we have the potential to replicate what we did last year. And in some ways, we could be a better team than last year, you know?
If we have Vando, I'd say yes. I'm not so sure without Vando.
Well, I think that I don't want to play the Nuggets until we have Vando, which means the conference finals. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to skip by that and that Vando will be ready by then. But I also don't think that the Nuggets I also don't think that the Nuggets, you know, it's not like the Nuggets have blown us out 8 games in a row. It's like they've won in the clutch in 8 games in a row.
No, they just they've out-executed us.
They've out-executed us.
As simple as that.
And I don't think that that's something that you're going to see. I still think that we would win 4 out of 10 games against them in a normal situation, and that means that we could easily win a series against them. And I think that the odds are in our favor at this point in time. I think that there's a balancing of the way the ball bounces and so forth. And a lot of those end games were big shots made at the end by guys who had made more big shots in the playoffs than anybody ever did in the past compared to the regular season. So, yeah. By the other hand, this team has also shown at times a fatal lack of commitment to being smart, you know, coming down and just casting off shots 3 in a row, 3s that miss, and you turn around and you blow a 10-point lead or you allow a team to go out to a 10-point lead. So they're capable of suicide. They're capable of just killing themselves.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's any team, though. That's any team except, like, it seems the Nuggets. I feel like the Nuggets have measured their way through the season pretty well. I think they played the entire season with an eye of having Murray and Jokic healthy come the playoffs. Right. Murray and
but also too, I've seen 3 or 4 years before last year where the Nuggets came into the playoffs and just got knocked out and really didn't do anything. And so you got to remember, this is the first time they ever won a championship. Ever. Yeah,
but whatever. Listen, it's
one game.
But they've
moved on. When's the last time somebody repeated?
Us. With
Kobe. A long time.
And Powell. And you know who reminds me of Kobe and Powell? Murray and Jokic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That kind of combination of
maybe it was you know, Murray had an elevated series that was better than any other playoffs he's ever had.
Murray is maybe the most underrated point guard in the entire NBA. Other than maybe Jalen Brunson, I would say Murray is the most underrated point guard in the entire NBA.
Well, it depends. If he can win another championship, I would probably agree with that. But let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
Right now, they can't even get ahead of the Oklahoma City Thunder and
but listen, that's not the point. That point isn't that they haven't that other teams haven't. The entire West has a better record than it did last season.
Yeah,
everybody in the West has a better record than they did last season and are lower in the standings because of it. So
you look at the West. That doesn't. It's about time we changed it. They should take the top 16 teams and put them in the playoffs, man.
Why have any?
Enough with this Eastern shit.
Well, all right, that's not going to happen. That's not that. That's death for the game. That's death for the game on the East Coast. That's the end of NBA.
I don't know. The NCAA did it.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Do it.
No, nobody cares.
It's the miracle of March Madness.
Good one, Kurt. Yes, I'm sure. According to D'Lo's agent, he is the most underrated point guard of the NBA. I think
D'Lo could be actually when you compare what people think versus what the guy is producing. I think that's a valid comment. D'Lo could be even more underrated than Murray.
Let's not be silly.
One more thing. Teams were saying that the Lakers couldn't trade him last year.
People are dissing Vando a little bit, and they're ignoring the improvement from the corner three that he made this season and his ability. He found a level of aggression on offense that he had not had.
Well, he just needs 3 weeks to get ready, though.
That's the issue. This is why I don't see him having big minutes in the playoffs.
It's not like he can just go and start
and he's
playing.
Not cleared for contact even. He's not even cleared for contact yet. So we're not worrying about Vando. And
then the other side of it is he's going to just take more minutes away from
Taurean Prince.
No, more minutes away from D'Lo.
Oh well, maybe yeah. Anyway, all right. Yeah. Well, this is Alan puts it perfectly. D'Lo is a specialist. Exactly, but this is a great retort. He is out. I don't think he's coming back for the playoffs. I'll be surprised if he does come back for the playoffs. At any rate, and this is what also I heard as well, that he looks good in practice, but he's still not cleared for contact. So whatever he's looking good doing, it's not in 5-on-5 or even 3-on-3. It's just against coaches and shooting drills and stuff like that, which is great. And maybe, you know what? Maybe they're working him into. Maybe he's going to be a secret weapon in the playoffs. Maybe we'll deploy him when needed. And
it ain't going to happen in the play-in, and it ain't going to happen in the first round of the playoffs.
No comment.
Probably not in the second round. So it means that we've got to get to the third round, which is the conference finals.
Anyhow,
I don't think he might have a chance because that's 3 weeks.
Yeah, conference finals. If we make it that far, that's a potentiality. I'll leave it there. I'm not going to say it's a possibility because I don't think it's a possibility. I think it's a potentiality. It potentially could happen, but I don't really think
it's a possibility and a potentiality are pretty much the same words.
No, they're not. No,
sure they are.
No.
Each one of them needs an additional modifier to.
That's right. But they're two very different modifiers. One is he going to play at all? It's not likely, which doesn't make it possible. Is the potential there? Yes. The potential is there. Is it likely or possible? In my opinion, no. Is it possible? Is it possible that Darvin Ham chooses to play D'Lo more minutes than Gabe Vincent? Yes. Yes, it is. I think that the potential and the possibility are both there. Anyway, now that we've had this wonderful debate on grammar and syntax and vocabulary, my last thoughts are: I think the Lakers do win tomorrow. I think that I don't think that. Because I think New Orleans would be more motivated to try to move up. But, I mean, I keep forgetting we're playing on the road tomorrow. You know, it's 50-50 tomorrow. If New Orleans at home, that crowd is going to be rooting for AD to lose. Just absolutely rooting for AD to lose. So we'll see. I think it's 50-50. We come out of this as the 9 or 10 seed. And face the longest possible road to the NBA Finals as any team out there. And I don't love that, but you know that's the hand that we've been dealt this season. I'd like to.
That's the hand that Ham dealt us this season.
I mean, it's not just Ham, but yeah, mostly Ham. Mostly Ham.
Ham sandwich, man.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's a ham sandwich before the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we really got everybody on the chat going into the whole Vanderbilt's impacts and detractions. And you know what? Listen, the fact that he's that polarizing means he does something right. Nobody talks about you if you're not good. Nobody talks about you if you don't have flaws. So
yeah, nobody's saying let's play Castleton.
That's right. Nobody's saying let's play Castleton. Nobody's even saying play Reddish. If you notice that, nobody. He's just kind of like, not me either. I'm like, you don't look like you're ready to contribute right now. Your brain isn't in the game, and that's half of it. So that's the one thing about Vando. His brain's always in the game. Whether his ability and his skill matches up to that, that's a different thing. But you can never accuse him of not putting it all out there, and that's the number one. That's the number one thing I'm always looking for is, are you leaving it all on the court? So with that, for Laker Tong, I'm Jamie Sweet. Thanks for tuning in to Lakers Fast Break. As always, if you rate things on the internet, give us a 5-star review on Apple Music or wherever Gerald tells us our podcasts are. I forget where they all are. Sorry, Gerald. You need to give me a little cue card to read all your slogans so that I can memorize it. If I get the lines, I'll make it my own, but I'll get it out there. Please like and subscribe right under Tom if you have not done so already. Helps get the numbers up, and someday we'll even get like a $3 paycheck for doing this. Ooh boy, that's what I'm retiring. I can tell you, boy. Let's go Lakers tomorrow. If you like we said, if we win tomorrow, we're the 8th seed. So let's just go win and let the rest of it fall where it may.
One game at a time. Just keep
one
winning.
game at a time. One game at a time. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Tom. As always, a pleasure. And please come by Lakerholics.com and you can debate us not through the internet, not through YouTube, but with words. And we always like to welcome new people to Lakerholics.com. You might have to update your Chrome browser, just so you know. It's not a bug. It's a security feature implemented by our IT specialist. So anyway, that's all. Have a good one, everybody.